Talk. Tego, Tracy here at the Kiva this morning, giving you some real estate advice, talking you through it. They are here every week, rain or shine, letting you know what's going on because real estate is a 24/7, 365-day decision. It's where you want to live, and they've been providing all that information to you now for over 8+ years, and they're here in the Kiva, and all you have to do is take their phone number down, make that phone number ring, get some expert advice, consultative advice. These are your real estate counselors here. Tego and Tracy Venturi, 505-448-8888. 505-448-8888. Welcome on ABQ.com. Welcome into the Kiva, guys. Good morning.
Good morning,
Good
Eddie.
morning.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was participated in an event the other day with a panel of realtors that all got into the business somewhere around 2006, 2007, right before everything shifted drastically. And, clearly we're in a real estate shift right now. And it's very different, though, than back then. So we're going to talk about that and just where we are in the real estate market and some tips and tricks. And sorry, Eddie, I didn't get to let you finish introducing, but
that was it. You guys take it away.
Yeah.
Run with it. You only got 30 minutes. You got
I know we got to go. We got a lot to cover here.
I'm sure we have new stats, right, Tego, for October, now that
October.
it's November?
October data is here.
It's like the best time of the month for you, huh?
Yeah, I posted something on Twitter that you can see where I just kind of went through some of the data. I'll probably record a video after this show and just kind of go through what I'm seeing in the market. But we'll talk about it a little bit today as well. But I'll put it out on my Facebook, my Twitter, and our YouTube channel on Market Update. So
I know a lot of people like to follow that, and so they follow you on those different avenues. So we appreciate that. I know a lot of people follow, listen, and value your advice, Tego.
Well, I have realtors coming up to me all the time, saying, well, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? And it's like, man, I wish I knew.
Oh, come on. You use real data, though, when you answer them, which is awesome. So that's part of the being a trusted resource.
I have a gut feel where we're going to go. It's an educated instinct on where things are going to go here over the next 6 months. So it's going to be very curious. Obviously, we've got an election this coming week, and I think that alone is going to settle down a lot of people's nerves about the economy, the market, and of course, housing's all part of that. And
getting past that.
Yeah, and just the uncertainty. I mean, that's just one of those uncertainties that's floating out there right now anyway, okay, we're getting way off track here.
Let's quickly go through what we hope to talk about now that we've already spent time.
So there's been a lot of, let's just call it, kind of bummer news about housing lately, right? I mean, it's, kind of some negative news about housing. And the question, that's coming up now is like, will my home sell in today's real estate market? And so we're going to talk about that, some thoughts on that. The October data, we already said that. And then, Tracy, we were going to dive into what is due diligence in a real estate transaction. And that could be in a commercial real estate transaction, could be in a home purchase, it could be in a vacant land purchase. There's this thing that we call due diligence. So let's just jump right into that first. What is due diligence?
So due diligence is your opportunity to investigate the condition of a property that you are purchasing to make sure that it's acceptable to you. We talk about houses that are resale houses, and we're really buying them as is, right? We go in, we have the opportunity to look at it. We go, yes, I want this house. So then we make our offer, we get it under contract, and we have typically in our contract, we put in dates for our due diligence. And what's due diligence also called? Inspections?
Yeah, it could be inspections. It could be, you could call it contingencies as well. Because
contractual contingencies. Usually.
Not the same, but different. I mean, you have a contingency based on the due diligence that you do.
Right.
Did that make sense? Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
basically, let's go through the list. You've got the home condition. Mm-hmm. Right, so that could be some sort
part
of due
diligence. You might have an appraisal.
It could be an appraisal, right? Could be should be a survey of some sort to actually do that. And then there's also the title search, which is also a due diligence where you're actually having the title company do a search on the property, ownership, record, history, all that stuff.
Making sure they can convey clear title to the new owner.
Yeah, yeah. So that would be another piece that you go through as the process, right?
Right. And so all of those things together are due diligence, and it's a part of the process. So a lot of times people really rely on us realtors to walk them through all of those steps, right? Because they don't really know a home inspector, or they don't know what to look at when the title company sends them a binder. You know, a lot of times people who want to sell their home by owner, which is great if they do, they oftentimes end up relying on a trusted realtor to help them through the paperwork of it and the due diligence of it, because it can get very difficult, right?
Yeah.
So one of the questions that I get sometimes, Tego, is when you're buying a brand new, newly constructed home, should you do inspections?
I'm never going to say don't get a home inspection.
There you go. So
was that a double negative? No, that wasn't a double negative. No, it wasn't. Yeah.
No. So
never going to say no.
Yes, even if it's new construction, you have due diligence periods, and one of those I suggest is get a home inspection, get another party to come in and get their eyes on it and make sure that everything got buttoned up, because a lot of the builders are building multiple properties at the same time, and it would be easy to have an outlet not work or reverse polarity on a water faucet or whatever. But just good to have another set of independent eyes on things. You know, there's lots of different types of home inspections, and we're not going to go into that, but we've kind of covered the main things that are the big items in your due diligence period.
And there was one more that I thought of as we were talking here, which was homeowners associations or condo associations or CC&Rs, for example, covenants, conditions, and restrictions on the property. Those could also be a contingent thing and something you want to do due diligence on. And in fact, in New Mexico, there is a state statute that home buyers are allowed to do or required to receive information about the homeowners association if it is in a homeowners association. So they understand what's going on with the budget and if there's any, what the fees are and how it's managed and all that stuff. So that's another one.
So working with home buyers, we tend to give them a heads up of what to expect, and that typically, especially with inspections of the property, things that come up that might be safety, mechanical, or hazardous are things that we typically see buyers wanting the seller to take care of. And we do typically have that opportunity to put together what we call a repair request. And it's really just would the seller be willing to do this? And then we decide if we're comfortable with the answer. Sometimes we go back and forth on it.
Yeah.
But sometimes we do our due diligence, and whether it's regarding title or survey or inspections or other things, we decide it's not a good house for me, right?
Yep.
And we need to not buy this house. And that's a hard thing to do once people have put all this time and energy and love into the future in that property.
Well,
right?
And maybe some expense too.
Expense.
Maybe pay for a survey, maybe paid for some of those inspections. Yeah,
right,
for sure.
Right. So sometimes we suggest they not move forward with the house. It's not what they were expecting. And that's very sad emotionally, but a lot of times it's the better choice, especially if they feel like it's going to cost them too much to do what they need to do to the house and they can't make it what they want. So sometimes we don't move forward. Right?
Yeah, and so I think the takeaway here is that, due diligence and contingencies are part of every home purchase and home sale. Very, very common. Our purchase agreements, our New Mexico contracts that we use here in the state, the State Association of Realtors, puts together the forms that we use. There are standard forms, and there are a lot of contingencies, a lot of due diligence options in there for buyers, and a lot of options. I mean, I have to say, we say this a lot ourselves, is that our purchase agreements definitely weigh in the favor of the buyer. There's a lot of sellers that look at this and go, wait, hold on a second. They've got all these different options to back out of the deal. But it's that way on purpose to make sure the buyer has the opportunity to understand what they're purchasing.
So then from the seller side, we talked about the buyer side on the due diligence. On the seller side, the due diligence period items that come up. They don't necessarily have to make repairs or fix things, but a lot of times they do. And because if this buyer goes away, they might need to do it for another buyer, right?
Right.
And so it's a kind of a precarious thing, but we try to warn sellers ahead of time of what might be coming.
You always say that, Tracy. You always say, well, we've got the negotiation on the price and the sale date and the kind of the terms of the sale. But then we have the second negotiation, which is usually that repair request, if there's some condition things that the buyer wants to get addressed.
Right.
So, yeah.
So I know October's over.
Yep.
I know you're dying to get to stats. We have other topics too, but let's get to some stats now that we're in a new month.
You know what I'm going to do, Tracy, is I'm going to just pull up my Twitter account and the tweet thread that I posted the other day, just yesterday. And what I did is just give a quick summary of what we're seeing. And let me just run through this real quick. So October home sales data. This is generally closed sales. This isn't all closed sales. You'll see what I mean here in a second. But it's basically, what happened in October for single family homes in the Albuquerque metropolitan statistical area.
Single family detached
Right.
homes. We're not talking manufactured
No.
homes, and we're not talking condos.
No,
attached.
I narrow it down to that because that's the biggest bulk and that's the biggest data set, so we can get some good statistical information out of that. So closed sales in October was 767 homes. That is a 33% decline from October of last year.
Month over month.
Year over year.
Year over year. So
year over year.
October to October.
October 21 versus October 22.
Right.
And so, 33% decline. So, obviously the number of homes selling and closing has declined a lot, especially since, the mortgage rate push that we've seen here over the last few months. Yeah,
well,
for
and
sure.
we were in a frenzy. I mean,
No doubt about it.
We were selling more homes than we'd ever sold. So now, of course, the numbers are a little different.
Yeah, the thing that's interesting about that, I mean, if we look at that, October last year was a record,
Number of sales,
right? But if I went back in time and looked at that, and that was equal to about 2017, something in there, the number of homes selling. So it's not like this. It feels like it's a drop off the cliff, but it's not so much. It's kind of normalizing to a certain extent. Go ahead.
Homes for sale, Tego. There's a lot of national news saying, "Oh, more homes are coming on the market and flooding the market," or words like that, which is not the case here, right?
I heard a realtor say yesterday, "Oh, all those bank-owned and short sale homes that are coming." I'm like, Where did you get that from? And I'm like, who is he listening to and reading? Anyway, sorry, I digress.
So
it was so
homes for sale has been staying steady for months now, right?
I kept my mouth shut. Okay,
we're up
yes.
year over year. However, we've been staying steady for many months.
Yeah, so there's
still way down.
Yeah, 28% more homes on the market October this year versus October last year. October last year was like an all-time low, though.
Right.
Yeah, and the way to really look at it is month supply of inventory. So that's supply versus demand. How many homes are selling versus how many homes are on the market. And historically, we've always said 5-6 months supply is a balanced market. Well, we're at 1.5 months supply. We still have a very, very low number of homes on the market. And like we talked about last week, Tracy, the city of Albuquerque, came out and said we're 15,000 housing units short in Metro Albuquerque, and that includes apartments too. But there's clearly still a shortage of the number of homes out there.
Which
on the market.
A topic we're going to be getting to is, should people be thinking of selling their house right now during November, December, January? So we'll get to that.
Yeah, and then this is the one that I've really been watching now because it's been trending in a interesting way, which is number of new listings, new homes coming on the market. These are people that are putting their homes for sale. We've seen a 23% decline from last year. So the curious thing, or curious, I don't know if that's the right word, but the thing is, it's like, yes, we've had a decline in the number of sales. We've also had a decline in the number of new homes coming on the market. So our supply-demand ratios are still very, very tight just because of that. It's just less people are wanting to sell their homes right now.
And from the sales side of the business that I work in mostly,
Yep.
we are still seeing the nice homes priced right get multiple offers.
Yeah, and what I'm seeing is, I don't know what the nice word is, marginal homes, homes that maybe need a little bit of work, that are, kind of.
They have a reason that
yeah.
they're either on a busy road, or they are not pristine, or they're not priced right.
Yeah, a little ahead of the market on price. Those homes are taking longer to sell. And so when we talk about days on market, median days on market was 11 days in October, meaning half of the homes that came on the market were under contract within 11 days.
Wow.
So
still amazing.
Yeah. I mean, that is, if we were to go back to 2019 and say 11 days on median days on market, we go, that's just crazy. We hit 5 last year.
So what was it in October of 19?
Yeah, in October of 19, it was, excuse me,
that was
18 days.
Pre-pandemic?
Pre-pandemic, 18.
So that was a more normal market.
Yeah.
18 days on market versus 11 right now.
Yeah.
So shows you the market is still pretty strong.
And really the take is, clearly the number of homes selling have slowed a lot. And yet we still have less supply coming on, which means our supply-demand ratios are still very tight.
We haven't talked about prices.
Yes.
And I know everybody wants to know about prices.
Prices. Year over year, home prices are up. Median price is up 15.5%. October last year to October this year. We had
when did they peak, though?
Unprecedented increase in home prices for the first half of this year. So that 15.5% is mostly from December of last year to May of this year.
And then since then, they've been saying sort of steady, not going up.
Pretty much steady, pretty much flat, maybe a little, May was a peak, pulled back slightly 1% or so, and it's just been kind of flat. We haven't really seen much decline, but we've seen a little bit of decline since then. And the take there is, if you are listing your home right now, you do have to listen to the market and not try to price ahead of it, because right now prices are not increasing. They're not really decreasing either. They're just kind of steady. I would suspect we'll probably see home prices pull back a little bit through winter, which is very common seasonally. And then we'll see what happens in the spring, because that's usually when we get the big bulk of price appreciation is in the spring. So,
okay, so
that was a lot.
That was good stuff. It was very accurate, which is always helpful to have real data. So we have quite a few open houses this weekend, houses that we represent, as well as open houses around the city. I know it's not the best weather weekend, so maybe it is a good time to be in your car and go see some open houses, because, when it's beautiful out, you want to be doing other things sometimes. But so open houses, you have a link on our website, Tego, to all open houses, not just Venturi Realty Group's open houses. So welcomehomeabq.com is where you go for that.
It's just on our website. So just under the home search, there's the open houses. Yeah.
Great. Yep. So we have Giselle Drive Northeast. It's 329.9 in the 87109 neighborhood. It is open both Saturday today from 1 to 3 and Sunday from 12 to 2. So both days to see that one. There's also in Edgewood, we have 46 Sarania Drive in Edgewood. It's $393,900. It's open today from 1 to 3. That particular house is new on the market. It's just over 2,000 square feet on 1.36 acres, 3-bedroom, built in 2002. really beautiful home there in Edgewood for $393,900. We have a couple other open houses. I know that 4 Quail Meadow Road in Placitas is open this weekend on Sunday from 1 to 3. That's a spectacular property for $650. It's a house and a guest house. So that one's very close to the main road through Placitas, just off it a couple blocks.
Nice.
So it's really easy to get there.
Yeah.
I went out there last weekend to deliver some flyers, and it was just beautiful setting. I really enjoyed that drive. It's so easy. You know?
It's beautiful out there, and
Cafe along the road there had a ton of cars. It was Friday late afternoon, early evening when I went by there, and a lot of people were there. Which was nice to have the community. Anyway, several other open houses. Get on the website. That's the easiest. Just find the link on our website to all open houses, and you can plan your route.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
A couple new properties on the market this week, and easiest, just get on our website. Tego has this really great link that's newly listed, so it lists the houses we've just put on the market as well as everybody else.
Yep.
So you can kind of get the fresh things right away. So if you're looking for something special, you might see it before others.
Yeah, and it's curious to say that because, you think about, okay, 6 months ago in March, April of this year, it was a frenzy, right? There was, homes were going under contract immediately. The same day. And we think, okay, well, it's slowed down now. But like I just said, half the homes are still selling and going under contract within 11 days, which means there's still demand out there, right? And that's what I want to segue into our next story here, Tracy, which is, should I sell?
Right. I just want to finish that
and
say
yes.
The best way, of course, is for us to set up a customized search for you.
For sure.
Based on what you're wanting. And we can set it up so you get anything new coming on the market immediately or only one email a day, whichever you prefer. So you can get an email every time something comes on during the day that matches, or one a day to summarize if more than one come on. All right. So.
And let's just address one thing, which is kind of the elephant in the room, is that, yes, home prices have gone up a lot over the last couple of years, for sure. And interest rates now have gone up more than double since the beginning of the year. So affordability is definitely a challenge. The thing is, it's not just Albuquerque. In fact, Albuquerque is in a better position than many markets, especially in the Southwest, from an affordability standpoint. So, it's an interesting time for sure, because people are like, well, should I buy? It's tough.
A conversation.
Yeah, it's a conversation, and you have to make the decision that's right for you and your long-term plans.
And if you're thinking of buying at some point, we should talk, because right now there are several new home builders who are offering a low interest rate. They have bought a bulk of mortgage money at low rates, and when it's gone, it's gone. And we know who those builders are. There's also a few loan programs out there that are offering lower rates. And
we got to talk about the MFA Targeted Areas Program.
Really quickly.
I know we're running out of time. MFA, Mortgage Finance Authority, this is a New Mexico program, and they have what they call the Targeted Areas Program. These are certain census tracts, neighborhoods around Albuquerque where you can buy a home and potentially get a 3.5%, 3.25% mortgage rate still.
Right.
Now, that's only good for a few more months, because what's going to happen is they can only go back 12 months, and whatever the best rate they had available on that program, they can give you that. So now,
the best rate
if you go
in the
back,
past 12 months is what they'll give you, but a couple months from now, we're going to lose those 3 and 4 percenters.
Yeah, exactly.
So Tego.
Yeah, and that's on our website, MFA Targeted Areas Homes
You have the search
for sale.
set up.
Yep, a lot of choices.
Will my house sell in today's market?
Yeah, I think that's a conversation a lot of people that want to sell are asking themselves. And so first and foremost, I want to talk about foot traffic, or what I call foot traffic, or showing activity. How many people are out there looking at homes? And Tracy, because of what you do, is we still get lots of inquiries every day, every week, of people that are looking to buy a home.
Right.
I mean, it's not like that's gone away.
Right. There are still plenty of people in the market to buy a home.
Yeah. And
life changes happen, right?
Right.
People may not know today that they are going to be selling their house tomorrow, or people might not realize that somebody might help them with a down payment and they could buy a house right now if that's their goal, right? We know that people have job changes, they have marital changes, relationship changes, empty nesters, new babies, combining households, all these reasons why people still need to buy a house. So
yeah. And it's the same again. So if you're saying, okay, will my house sell in this market? Well, first off, do you have to sell right now? Do you have that 3.25% or 3% mortgage that you're not going to get again probably ever, right? And so you got to ask yourself all those questions. The thing is, the number of people out looking at homes. One of the things I have data on is the number, what I call foot traffic. I started to say, which is how many times properties are being shown to potential buyers
based on lockbox activity.
Exactly. So this is real data on how many people are going into properties. In October of this year was down 27% from October of last year, but October of last year again was kind of off the charts. You can't really compare it to it. But if I compare it to October of 2019,
it's very similar.
Foot traffic actually it's up 20%. So
there are more buyers right now out looking for homes than there were pre-pandemic October 19.
Correct.
So there you go.
That's interesting, right?
That's very interesting.
And
that would indicate if you're ready to sell, there are buyers more than there were even 3 years ago.
To be fair, we didn't have 7.5% mortgages, back then either. But
that's more of the norm over history, right?
Yeah.
When I started in real estate in 2002, the interest rates were 7.5.
Yeah.
Sometimes people were getting 8s,
but
sometimes a little lower.
But I'll push back on that. We didn't have 35% home price appreciation over 2 years before that, though, either, which we're dealing with now. That's why affordability is definitely a challenge right now. The question is, are prices going to decline to bring affordability back down, or are mortgage rates going to decline? And right now, the jury's out on both of those. And
we have our beliefs on that, of course.
I definitely do. But the bottom line is, buyer demand has not disappeared. It's definitely moderated this year versus the last 2 years where we're just off the hook. But if it's the right time for you to sell, let's talk, right? Give us a call. How do people get a hold of us?
Sure. 448-8888. Simple number. Give us a ring. And we'll be happy to help you and talk through whatever works for you. So Eddie, another show in the books.
There it is. I think what you guys are talking about specifically, instead of the stats, it's belief and it's expectations. And I think it's important, again, we get into this thing where you're working with people who are transacting business and doing it often. And one deal differs from the next. And it's important to understand what's happening with those market conditions and what's able to actually be achieved. And I think that that's so important. I think with what people might think is a difficulty is, it's a real opportunity. And I believe that opportunity is there because you're seeing more people deciding to sell their homes, and they want to catch it because we know that interest rates are going to go up and continue to go up. But that doesn't mean in a market like New Mexico that prices are going to come down. That's happening other places, but New Mexico is one of those places. And you listen to that Wells Fargo economist, Tego. We are protected, and that'll happen for the next couple of years. So it looks pretty good. And I'm happy to hear all of this morning. I feel very well informed when it comes to real estate prices.